event. We'd love to welcome our guest speakers here. They will be talking on cell phones in schools, and I'll let them each share a bit about themselves, their positions, and what they have been in schools. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Awesome. I'll start and I'll bring out my crew later. I've got awesome Hope grads here who are all teachers in the area. We're really excited to share with you guys about what we do every day, about cell phones, about how all this works. But I do want to give you a second to read this article that was in the Sentinel like a week or two ago, all about cell phones in the classroom. And then I want to challenge you to put your phone that's in the bin at the end of your row. Might feel a little scary, I know, but we're going to try it out. So I'll give you 2-3 minutes to read through and then throw your phone at the end of your row. Alright, I'm going to turn the slides around. Okay, cool. If you have not already, go ahead and put your cell phone at the end of your row. I'm serious. I know it's weird, but work with me. I promise. I'm not crazy. No one will steal your phone. You can pass it down. I love it. Good. Turn it on to somebody near you about these 3 questions.
What grade level do I hope? School's great. Right there. Catching up on the
I'm excited that you're excited. I'm excited that you're here. How many of you in this room are freshmen? Okay, so it hasn't been that long since you were in K-12 school and maybe had a cell phone rule that applied to you. How many of you are seniors? Yeah, 4 years ago, there weren't really cell phone rules in high school, were there? Right? Ish. Maybe there were some things that were starting to kick in. I got my first cell phone in middle school, and I was terrified to take it out of my locker. And I turned it off and shoved it in my locker and made sure it was there. Don't laugh at me, but it's true, because I was worried something was going to happen. And I think of how the world has changed since then and how this technology impacts us every day. According to the Pew Research Center, not too long ago, 72% of high school teachers say this is a huge problem. Cell phones and technology, how that impacts the classroom. In addition, we also see this problem in K-12. Right? We know our high schoolers have problems with this because they are some of the most attached, but middle and elementary kids have cell phones too at this age. In this generation, which is kind of scary to think about. Middle school teachers are also noticing this problem. It's kind of starting to work its way through the ages. This was something that was done on social media. I'm sure you've seen it before. There's been plenty of teachers in this world that have said, hey, let's see how many notifications we get during class. And some teachers have gone through and said, hey kids, every time you get a Snapchat, come up and put a tally on the paper. time you get a text, come up and put a tally on the screen. And that would terrify me because I know my kids are getting Snapchats like every 5 seconds. Their friends have their phones accessible to them, right? And so if this was happening in my classroom, the kids would yes and now, and up and down over and over and over again. Because these notifications are going off again and again and again. We are seeing that when kids are separated from their cell phones, their engagement in class is higher. Their stress is lower, probably from those social pieces, right? And the social connection piece. And less access to social media is not necessarily a bad thing. We think of Facebook, we think of Twitter, TikTok, all those things and how they impact this generation of kids. But then there's also the management piece, right? You, the future teacher, how are you going to manage your personal cell phone, your students' cell phones, as you sit down for a class period? So I'm going to quickly go over the different cell phone policies that our panelists are bringing to the table today, and then I'll bring them up and we can start to hear from them about what this is like. Zealand High Schools, I myself teach at Zealand East, and a couple of our other panelists, Sarah and Logan, also teach in Zealand at high school. Currently, we use like a phone caddy, like those calculator pouches or the shoe pouch that we hang up, and the kids have to put their phones in that caddy at the beginning of class, and they can pick it up at the end of class. They do get their phones during that passing time during the school day, and there are different consequences. This is something we just started this year. Last year it was up to teachers to decide how kids, whether they had a cell phone or they didn't. They could have it in their backpack. They don't really use lockers anymore, but you know, that was an option too. We got a couple panelists here from West Michigan Aviation Academy. Natalie and Jake are here today to talk about their charter school. Yay. They are not allowed to have phones in the classroom in their building. So some teachers let them keep them in their backpack, some teachers require them to keep them in their lockers, but kind of a mixed bag depending on the classroom on their campus. And they've had that the last 2 years. Corey's here today from the middle school in Zealand, and at their school, phones have to stay in a locker or a backpack. They can't be out during class, but they can use them between class periods. But what actually happens? They're in their pockets, right? I think a lot of us can relate to that piece where, oh yeah, it's totally in my backpack, but then you see the kids under the desk or something along those lines. And then Kate is joining us from the middle schools in Hudsonville, and those students are not allowed to have cell phones from the beginning to the end of the day. Some staff also bring smartwatches into the picture. You're not allowed to access your smartwatches. So that means their phones are in their lockers and turned off from the beginning to the end of the class. During previous school years at their school, kids were allowed to use them during lunch or during the school day if they were appropriate with their smartphones. So kind of a wide variety. Maybe you've seen some of these cell phone policies in your placements, especially if you're at a middle or high school level. They've interacted with some of these different schools. Would you do me a favor if you have an empty seat next to you? Would you raise your hand? Do you have any people need to speak? Or just not? Go find this. As our panelists come up here, will you tell your neighbor one thing you notice or one thing you wonder about cell phone policy? We are going to hear from the group as a whole for a little bit, but I also want you to start thinking about at the end of our time together, we're going to have 10 or 15 minutes where we're going to break out, and you can choose. You can meet with some high school general ed teachers, you can meet with some high school special ed teachers, and then my middle school teachers go together to visit the middle school group. I don't have any elementary representation, surprise, but the elementary teachers I reached out to said, we don't really have problems with that. Although the fun thing was, one of my friends who teaches second grade, the day she said, I don't think I can help on this panel, East High School in special ed. I've been there for 10 years. Went to Hope, got my special ed degree here. Want to run down the list? Where you work, how long you've been there, and what you graduated with from Hope College.
I'll start, yeah. So my name's Jake Bouchard. I work at West Michigan Aviation Academy. It's a charter school here in Renton. I teach primarily engineering courses, but I went to Hope and got my physics degree with the intention to teach high school physics. I taught some middle school along the way too, but now I teach mostly high school engineering.
Hi, I'm Natalie Zadorozny. I graduated here from Hope in 2014 with an English degree, and I teach at the Aviation Academy. This is my 11th year. I teach high school English, English honor, or English 11, English 11 honors, yearbook. I'm an instructional leader.
Okay, I'm Laura Chuckma, the second on the list. I went to Hope. I majored in learning disabilities and emotional impairments when that was still kind of like how you all you do is major in that. I am in my 12th year of teaching at Zealand, and I graduated in 2013. Go Hope. You guys won the mosquito before I moved on. You've chosen the greatest school of all time. Good work, everybody.
Hi, I'm Kate Webb. I am in my 10th year of teaching middle school special education. Graduated from Hope in 2014 with English and learning disabilities as my major area. And then I'm in my second year out of it.
Hi, I'm Sarah Beckham, and I teach at Zealand East. I do a lot of co-teaching with Rachel. I'm the more fun part of the teaching. She's the one that keeps me in check. She knows more about it than I do. I've been teaching for 26 years, and I graduated in 1999. And yeah, I got my major here was learning disabilities.
Logan Valley. I also teach at Zealand East High School. I graduated from Hope in 2019, so this is my 5th year teaching. I have an integrated science major, so any science 6 to 12. Yeah, good stuff.
I'm Corey Timmer. I graduated from Hope a couple of years ago. Rachel Coussens. Rachel was my student teacher, so I taught her everything that she knows. Clearly, yes. I was a special ed teacher for 22 years, and now I'm an interventionist at Coussens Middle School.
Awesome. Our first set of questions, and panelists, I'll kind of let you throw it around what you're interested in talking about. First one up there, how do teachers, students, and parents feel about your cell phone policy? And kind of who does the enforcing of your cell phone policy? Administrators, teachers, other stuff like that.
I feel like at Zealand, it depends on what age you have, especially at the high school. 9th graders had cell phone rules at the middle schools, so they kind of already are just doing it, or at least have done it the year prior. If you get seniors and juniors who have never had cell phone policies, it's quite a headache. But these past couple months since we started have been pretty much okay. They're starting to get the hang of it and figured out. There's pain at the beginning, but I feel like we're in a much better spot now. So it's been an interesting few months, but overall.
I can kind of piggyback on that. I had seniors last year in my, it's like a homeroom class, we call it advisory. And yeah, they were all on their phone pretty much the entire hour. Whereas like when they were freshmen, they were much more like, oh, okay, you want to set our phones away, and they actually would. This year, now that it used to be teacher discretion, now that it's like a whole school-wide policy, I don't have seniors anymore, so I don't see that. I have freshmen and sophomores. Sophomores like bucked it a little bit at the beginning, but I mean, they're just doing it now. Like that's how I take attendance. I just walk over and I look at the caddy, and I know Rachel does that too, and we'll be like, okay, number 2, who's phone number 2? Or we have a roster kind of posted right next to the phone caddy. There's a couple kids who legit don't have phones yet, believe it or not. And so like I don't call them out like, where's your phone every day? Like I just know that they don't have a phone. But that's how we take attendance. So that seems to help. For like some kids will be like, oh, I totally forgot, sorry. And then they'll run up and quick put it in. And like I just haven't had a lot of pushback since like all the teachers are doing it. And I do think it helps. Our administration does walk around occasionally
It's like I don't want to get in trouble, but I know like there has been a couple of times where it's been an issue, and I think they got written off, and it's probably you.
At the middle school level, I had to laugh as a comment. You know, the phones are probably in their pockets, and to some extent, that happens at my middle school hospital as well. Except for some teachers are always checking pockets, which is kind of a weird line, right? Like they'll ask kids, you know, is that your cell phone or is that your calculator, or whatever. That's kind of invasive sometimes. Um, so usually, like as long as all of our staff are upholding it, like you said, like kids mainly stop sneaking it after about a month. But once in a while, there's still some in pockets, but I'm not going to call them out.
Okay. Um, so in our school, before a couple of years ago, so 2 years ago, we kind of decided as a school, this is something that we really want to champion. That we're kind of in a unique situation that we're a charter school. We don't have buses to our school. Our kids drive here, or they get dropped off, and or they take the city bus. And the city bus will drop off at the airport. So that's how our kids get to school. And so because of that, and that unique situation, we didn't feel like a full bell to bell, no cell policy was going to work for us. But we did see the need for the students to have a safe space away from their cell phone. And so we kind of sat together as a group and decided like this is something that we really want to protect their learning space. And so when we thought about how we want to tell the kids about this and shift from it's every teacher's discretion, we hope they don't have cell phones, it's good policy to have as a teacher, to we're going to do this as a school, we thought of like we really want to tell them the why. And we deal with all high schoolers, and so it's really we kind of really did some norming at the beginning 2 years ago of do you know why we do this? Do you know why protecting our learning space in the classroom is really important? And I think that really helped make the students like understand and appreciate what we were doing in the school. Now, how does that play out in the school year and one to one? Like that's different, but it really enforced for the students that like admin has our back as teachers. I think in our classroom it looks a little different. We all have autonomy over our own classrooms, but the help from admin to be able to support the teachers is really helpful. And I think that we've seen it come out of the students that they really appreciate having the space to protect their learning space.
The only thing I so I went to the same school as Natalie. I think the only thing I would add on to that, especially as a younger teacher, especially if you have secondary school, your age is not so different from students, and they will try to tug on your heartstrings or try to encourage you to be the cool teacher. Um, but if you are the lenient teacher, that makes everyone else's job more difficult. So, um, what I found in school is consistency from class to class makes any policy easier to uphold. So when I'm doing the same thing as the teachers that I neighbor, the students know that that's the expectation. It's more, and it's easier for them to be compliant. So it feels more important for them. I've had teachers in my class. I've had teachers walk in the hallway past my class. My room, an entire wall is windows. I'm so lucky. And I've had a teacher, Katie, teacher that teaches next to me. Well, sometimes if she happens to catch a student using their phone and I don't notice it, she has full reign to walk into my class and take that kid's phone. And I have no problem with that because I didn't even know it was there. Okay, I can't watch 28 kids all at the same time and give a lesson and consider all the things that are going on. So I think being open with your other teachers and saying, hey, look, at any point, if I feel like if you see that I'm missing something, jump in. Like they're all our kids. I think is the mentality.
I wanted to add to that though, because I asked my high schoolers the other day in my like advisory hour. I said, all right, look, I'm going to go talk to some previous teachers on what should they know about what it's really like in cell phones in the classroom. I said, do you really not mind it that much? And they said, well, yeah, it's kind of annoying to not have it, but we actually focus so much better. And that was straight from my students today, like 2 days ago. And I thought, yeah, but is that just like the llama thing you're saying to me because I'm your teacher and whatever? Like, no. And then I pushed them a little more. And so I teach English, right? Right now we're doing Macbeth. We're acting it out. And so they're standing up and they have the swords and they're doing the whole thing, right? And I said, so tell me about a little bit about the cell phone thing. And I said, I probably wouldn't volunteer to act out in class if I knew that of the shame or the guilt or the like, I don't want to be seen, or it might be sent on Snapchat to somebody else. And so I thought about that and how much it impacts their education and their willingness to participate or be wrong, which is, I think, a little bit what high school is all about.
Funny, Sarah and I did the same thing kind of today. We had a couple students left behind at the end of the school day, and we were like, "Hey, we're going to Hope College today. What do you think we might be telling future teachers about? What's a hot topic right now?" First kid had no idea. Second kid, I bet it's cell phones.
And he has autism.
Yeah, and he was so perceptive, so right on it. And we're like, "Well, what do you think?" And same kind of answer. He's like, "Well, I say I like the policy. I don't hate it. It helps me focus. It helps me stay in line with what's moving." And that was huge to hear that from their
And
mouth.
the other one who's very attached to her cell phone said the same thing. Like, it's not that bad because all the teachers are doing it, so it's not a big deal. But when like one teacher was doing it versus some teachers weren't last year, that was more difficult for her.
Well, I can full transparency. I'm a convert in the fact that I did not enforce it a ton in past years. It just wasn't a battle that was worth fighting when there wasn't a school-wide policy, in my opinion, and right or wrong. Maybe wrong, I don't know. But this year it's been like just a complete transformation for me in seeing the learning happen, and that's because I was willing to enforce it and haven't kind of cracked down and was like everybody needs to do it. Um, so prior to that, I felt like that's not a battle that I was willing to fight um, with kids because it was such a prevalent thing. Right or wrong, I don't know, but it feels good for everybody to do it at the same time.
I think the word battle is a good word. Because it truly was a battle. Even little things like I'm texting my mom. Can I be on my phone? Because I'm texting my mom.
Right. Oh yeah. It's always my mom or dad.
Yep, always my mom or dad, always. Well, I think my mom's coming to pick me up from the dentist, so I need to just keep it right here so I can check for when she's gonna be here. I check 10 times in case she's arrived, right? We have systems in place for that. We have great office staffs in our building that will give us a phone call or send us an email when the mom shows up or when they're scheduled to leave for the dentist. They don't need their cell phone for that. But it was a battle that was hard to fight, right? And it was a battle that was being a cool teacher, being the different teacher, you became the strict one when you were the one who followed the rules, even though it was the rules. So I give props to admin for taking this on. I think in almost all of our cases, it's been a big undertaking in the last year or two, and that's been a huge help. Because then even I can say, well, I know the principal might stop by, and then I'll get in trouble. And then my students don't want me to get in trouble for breaking the cell phone policy, so then they're willing.
I'll just add really quick.
Yes.
You're gonna be a new teacher, and you're gonna be like, I want my students to like me. It is more important that your coworkers like you. And your coworkers will like you if you're consistent and follow through on the rules. Because your students are gonna leave you. But I'm with the same people I've been working with. And so if I was like, I'm gonna let the cell phone policy slide so that they all think I'm special and cool, that is not why you're their teacher. You are not their teacher to be cool. They will like you if you are consistent and real with them. And being consistent and real with them is being like, I'm taking your cell phones, that's a fact, every day. Put in the caddy. And I'm doing this because I care for this and this, just like they said at the beginning. So as you're getting there as new teachers, remember whose respect you really, really need. It's your coworkers, because when you get out of here, you're going to need your coworkers more than ever. Does that make sense? Sorry.
You're great. And another round of questions here. How do students get around your cell phone policy, either currently or in the past? How do smartwatches play into your cell phone policy? Another thing I didn't put up there, but I've noticed way more in the last couple weeks is headphones, earbuds, AirPods. They like to use those as well. Or if anybody has any stories about some poor student cell phone use.
I can start out with a smartwatch story. So, smartwatches in my district, a lot of kids have them. I'm not sure, what you're seeing in your placement, but probably about half the class has some form of smartwatch at the 8th grade level. And we were giving a beginning of the year presentation, small groups, probably about 4 kids up in front, whole class, watching them. And one of the kids gets a text on his smartwatch, and he turns around in front of the whole class and starts texting on his smartwatch. And so my co-teacher has time to walk up to him, kind of tap him on the shoulder, and he says,
them weren't on you, like, hand it over. Eventually he did. But he was so adamant that there was nothing wrong with that situation. So they're just really used to using them all the time.
I can tell a core student story, but it's not necessarily my class, but it's definitely something that inspired the policies, which I think sets up some level of like realness of like the why. Why do we care about cell phones? So in our building, we looked at behavior. This is before I made the policy. We looked at behavior before the policy, and every single behavior incident in our building went back to cell phones. Whether it was cyberbullying, whether it was recording somebody, whether it, I mean, everything came back to, or inspired by TikTok. Um, like everything went back to something on their cell phone. And when we instilled the cell phone policy, our behavior dropped by, I don't remember the number, but it was like 50%. Like our behavior just completely shifted, and I think that was a really big why. So, but and some of the dangerous like activities that they were doing on cell phones, like we had kids being put in really unsafe situations, putting themselves in really unsafe situations during our school day when they're sitting in my classroom or in my colleague's classroom. It's like we're here to protect these kids, and that's not happening because I can't control their what they have on Wi-Fi, what they have on. And so we changed a lot of our tech infrastructure that they have to log in and all these other things. But that was another big key indicator was like the student story, like our kids had access to things they should never have access to in our building.
I think a battle I'm still having is the earbuds. Again, it's not part of our policy. So I struggle with like some days I pick the battle, and some days I'm just like, I don't just want to deal with it. And honestly, it depends on the kids. I teach special education, so if I see one of like what I consider my students that I'm there in a co-teaching situation, like with earbuds in, and they usually will just do one. So then they're like, I'm still listening, or I have it on mute. And so in our guided studies class that I teach with Rachel, I've been really harping on like, but we're trying to prepare you for being in a job someday, and you can't have your earbuds in when your boss is talking to you or you're in a meeting. Like it's just disrespectful. And we're trying to teach you good habits now. And if you're just so used to just popping that in all the time or not even realizing it's in, we haven't done our job in preparing you for your future. A lot of them will put the hoodie on, so that's usually my first indication, like they probably have an earbud in. And then there's kids who are like are super smart and can listen for 2 seconds and have the lesson. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just not interested in the battle with them today, honestly, because I know they already get it. So I kind of wish it was part of our whole school-wide policy. It's not right now. So I don't know. It is what it is. Like sometimes I pick it, sometimes I'm like, oh well, I guess if you don't get it, it's your problem. But when it's my caseload students, then I guess I feel that I need to say something and like to pay attention.
When it comes to students getting around the policy, something that I do in my class, and it's something that a lot of teachers do at our school. We don't collect, most teachers don't collect students' phones, so I'm one of the teachers that you can have it. If I see it, it's fine. But a policy that a lot of us use, a lot of the procedures we use in our classroom, students need to use the restroom, have them turn their phone into me, the way they don't have it when they're not with me. That eliminates 15-minute long bathroom breaks. That eliminates like stopping by a whole bunch of other classrooms on the way to say hi to somebody, or students meeting up in the hallway to see each other because they text each other while they were out there. Some teachers will like, so I've just been saying, all right, yes, you can go to the restroom, drop your phone off on the way out the door. Students have no problem doing that. It makes it normal. There's another teacher at my school who keeps their phone for the remainder of the hour. So not only do you not have it while you're out, you can't have it back until class is over. And for some of them, that's reason enough not to take that extra bathroom break that maybe have to do. So I'm considering trying that next week. And another thing I'll say about that, especially your first, second, third, fourth year teaching, making a, like once you realize that there's a problem with the policy you have, like, oh, I need a totally different cell phone policy. Some teachers will wait until the next year to do that. Tell the kids, make a slide that says, hey, this is the deal now. There's no reason to wait. I was in that boat. I realized my first year. There were a couple policies that I didn't like. I'm like, we just need to wait until a clean refresh next year. I need to clean the slate. And now I realize in year 9, for me, just pull it up the next day and say, this is what we're doing.
It starts the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We had a teacher at our school who, he's an ex-Marine. He, students love this policy actually, and it's, if you like the spectacle of it, it's maybe worth a try, but the students were caught with a cell phone rather than taking it, because you know, students really like to have it, it's like a Roy Rock. He would take a paper bag and staple the phone in the bag, but they could keep it on their desk. It's just in a paper bag now and stapled shut. And students, uproarious, they would call each other out. He's got a cell phone, he's got a cell phone, Mr. Corny, he's got his cell phone over there. So he would, all right, bag, there you go, you can keep it. That's, I mean, sure, you can do that if that's what works for you. Maybe you find your own quirky thing. I think having a policy and saying this is the policy, and then doing that policy is that's better.
But once you make that policy, you think it's fun, then you better have a bunch of paper bags. You need to follow through. So if you're gonna be the funny, quirky teacher, that's awesome. But then be prepared to be the quirky, funny teacher day in and day out. Yes.
Has anyone ever been to a concert where they've done that with your phone? I've heard of where this is a thing.
Comedy shows that do it a lot.
And so different concerts, different events. It's not a paper bag. It's like a bag that has one of those locks, like you get on like the pants at the store and then it's stuck there forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you go back and then take off a stupid ink tag so they can take it off for you. It's like that. And so you can have your phone in your purse, in your bag, the entire concert, comedy show, whatever it is. You can access it. So you can't record the concert. You can't record the comedy show. Schools are starting to do this. And so you can't do the unlock until 3 p.m. or whatever time your school bell rings.
Yeah, they do. They like try and break into it. Like you have to pay for the lock, and it breaks your phone.
Okay.
Breaks your phone?
Yeah.
What is that?
Did you experience this as a student?
No, not one of my friends.
Okay.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. Me too.
Kids, because of the policies, are getting much swifter at texting on their watches. I don't text on my watch very often, and if I do, I voice to text because it's way too small for me to do. But they're figuring it out. There's also games that are watch games. Some of you are nodding, you play them. Cool. So those are easy. You can play checkers or block, smash, whatever, on your watch with your friends during class. You can have that. It's on your wrist.
Or your Chromebook.
Or your Chromebook. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the phone in your lap used to be very common, right? So you're doing that, asking the students a very awkward, like, why are you staring at your lap all hour? This is really weird. And the answer is because their phone is in their lap, but they're never going to tell you that.
Pretty good indicator during choice reading is the book is upside down. And giveaway.
Choice reading has gone way up in our building because of the no cell phone policy, and I love it. So
I do when I feel awkward. I just read a book. I don't.
taking a little bit of a different spin on things, right? Cell phones aren't all bad. So how do you use cell phones to support your students and your learners in class? Maybe a positive story. Then another interesting question: do you give parents or students your cell phone number?
No. Oh my god.
Have you ever been asked for your cell phone number?
As a coach, in situations like that, or like overnight field trips, that gets a little bit dicey. But oh my god, never ever give your cell phone away anywhere. Even you think like, yeah, obviously not to youth, but like, oh, but like parents, no, not even. That's worse.
Don't do it.
I would go opposite and say
Yeah.
I text a lot of my parents, and part of that was I was a special ed teacher forever, and so we have the same parents and siblings also. So I think texting has been a great way for me to contact parents, and that's, I mean, they're used to texting kids, so they will reply to texts before they'll answer the phone, I mean, just like you guys. And so that's been a good way. Google Voice cell phones now for PBIS, for positive behavior intervention, to scan and give kind of ducks bucks for this one ducks. So ducks bucks to kids. So in that case, I have my phone out during the day, which is a little bit. It feels a little bit weird, but that's one way that we use it.
Possibly that my kids use their cell phones or use technology. I do, as a special education teacher, I've had a couple of kids who've had cell phones written into their accommodations, either for medical support or for anxiety support, or they're able to access music or other things as coping strategies through the day. And the consistency and like clear policy in that is what makes that successful because especially like they need to know when they can access it and when to rely on having that. And then if they're stretching those boundaries, because students will stretch those boundaries, being consistent with them and having some sort of if we see you misusing this, then this is how we're removing that accommodation and putting a more like archaic accommodation in place. So you still have that support, but it's not going to be music in the way you want it anymore, or we will contact your parent if such and such happens. So kids sometimes do have them written to their IEPs for different reasons, but as long as it's consistent, it can be really helpful. You can find a middle ground.
On a side note, using a phone for kids with diabetes is very common now. So I try to always, when a kid has a phone out, I'll say, "Hey, what you doing?" Or because sometimes I've had kids that I didn't know say, "Oh, I'm just checking my blood sugar," and they are, but I don't want to hammer them right from the get-go, so I just always ask. But that's not uncommon. I think we've got 3 or 4 kids in our school that have it's a second phone that checks their blood sugar.
I've had a few of those, and it's been cool to see like parents reaching out even and being like, "Hey, just so you know, my kid's gonna have to check their phone every once in a while." Completely unrelated though. I coach baseball at Zealand, and the easiest way to reach high schoolers is 100% through texting them. Um, so I would say that we just set parameters around that. So like we'll have our group chat that will shoot information out, but the professionalism goal deal there is that this is the only place you're probably ever going to receive a text from me is in this group chat with all of us and players, and you are not going to text us on the sideline. And that's kind of just a relationship, a player-coach relationship that I think a lot of students do respect and understand because that is the easiest way. And they 100% are going to tell you that they'd rather you text them than go on a group me app or something else because they're not going to check that. Um, Another thought that popped into my head is that we use the caddy at Zealand, so everybody pops their phones on the way in, and I've been putting mine in there from the beginning of class to the end of class, and I truly think that like that is like been really positive for me because it kind of sets a tone. Like I am guilty of being on my phone 26 years old. Like I like my phone probably just as much as you do, what high school kids do. But if I can set the tone early and often, like kids are going to respond to that and start doing the same thing. So just feel like if you can do it, then you can probably do it too.
I've not been good about that, primarily because I have children. And so partly that's my excuse. Like my kid might text me. I try not to check my phone, which is definitely not in front of kids, but like I might have it there, especially if I have a kid home that's sick or something and I want to be able to see that during the day. So I know some people have done that. I have not. There's something I was thinking. Oh, the parent thing, the cell phone. If you don't want parents to call you with your cell phone, then don't use your cell phone to call them. Because I've done that before. I was at home and I'm like, I gotta call this parent tonight and touch base about something. And then all of a sudden they're texting me, and I'm like, what? And then I realized that but I've never really had a parent abuse it. I've had a couple who were like maybe lower socioeconomic, like didn't have a landline, didn't have Wi-Fi, like they just don't have a lot of ways to communicate, and so texting was their main source of getting a hold of me, and that was my main way of getting a hold of them. But I really haven't had a situation where I'm like, oh my gosh, they're texting me every night. So I think it's like Cora said, it comes in handy
some of you have used that in the past as a student. A way to send out a mass group message to a group of students, a team, whatever it may be. We still use that, and we just send the messages in the evening, right? When the big paper is due tomorrow in English, the message will go out at 7 p.m. Don't forget, papers are due when class starts tomorrow. And then they can still get that text. I think in the past, we'd send it out right before our homeroom class to remind them to work during their advisory period, homeroom period, to get stuff done. But it's still effective in that way. The other thing about cell phones that have changed my life in the last 2 years, and I think somebody that I can teach with, is setting timers is amazing. I now set timers on my watch, I set timers on a phone, even on a computer, because there's so many times in the classroom where I'll say, hey, we're gonna work on this for 5 minutes. And I have no idea what time it is. And I have no idea what time class ends. And I have no idea what time we start. Like, I don't even know when 5 minutes is. We're just gonna work for 5 minutes. Good luck, get it done. And so it's that whole moment of, okay, well, I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. And when the timer rings, everybody can hear the timer ring. And now the activity is over. So that's just been an easy something that whether you do it on a cell phone or whether you do it on a different device, you set a timer. I'll also set stopwatches on some of my long classroom children. And I'll just start the stopwatch the minute they walk out the door, and then I'll be able to tell when they walk back in the door, hey, you were gone for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
When I've talked with hotel students about using electronics in the classroom, one of the things I've always encouraged is social media, using social media, especially parents are on Facebook, some Instagram, but trying to promote your class. And I think elementary that comes into play even more often because you've got 25 or 30 kids, and you can make a group with just your classroom in it, or just approving who follows that. We try our best to promote on Instagram in particular. What we're doing at Creekside, and so I think that's a great time to get out your phone. And I try to always tell my kids, hey, I'm taking pictures of you so that we can share the awesome things that you're doing. I try to explain why I have my phone out when I do have it out, but I think that's still a good way just to promote and show parents and people outside of our classroom the really awesome things that you guys are doing with your students in the classroom.
In our last chunk of time, we're going to break into kind of 3 different groups. And I asked you earlier to start thinking about which group you might want to belong with, whether that is the high school general ed teachers, the high school special ed teachers, or the middle school teachers. You're welcome to ask them questions about cell phones and technology. You're also welcome to ask them other things. We're real. We do this job every day. We were at schools today. Things happen every single day. And kids tell stories for hours. So I'm going to have our high school, oh gosh, let's poll you all first. How many of you are thinking middle school? I'm going to go chat with those people, okay? How many of you thinking high school special ed? Okay, and how many thinking high school gen ed? That's a lot. Okay, high school gen ed, I'm going to have you guys come to the front. High school special ed is going to go to that corner over there. And middle school, I'm going to send you that way over there. Just about 10 minutes to chat with me.